Hey everyone, welcome to Realization Hub. My name is Michelle Corazao-Dino, and I'm an intuitive counselor, energy healer, and channeler who loves to bridge the gap between the unseen world of spirit, consciousness, energy, and intuition so that it can apply to your everyday human experience. If you like these videos, please subscribe to this channel. Really helps me out a lot. Today's video is an energy update for January 2023. I'll be going over some channeled energetic themes that I see for the upcoming month. If you're interested in working with me, there's more information in the description box below. I do offer personal sessions, group sessions, as well as online programs that teach sensitive or awakened souls how to be in command of their energy so that they can feel whole, healed, and balanced. All right, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so in January, I'm noticing a theme of home or coming home to yourself. In late 2022, there was a lot of stormy, energetic dynamics, a lot of individuals going through a lot of cleansing, a lot of releasing, as well as a lot of misalignment energy. And in December, started to notice the collective starting to tap into their own hearts and open up their hearts and start to feel some of the benefits of the kind of rough cleansing that the collective has been through lately. And so in January, I'm noticing that more of this theme around the heart is coming through. And what I notice the most are individuals in the collective finding their home within, connecting to their personal truth, their authenticity, starting to accept and embrace their personal differences, really rooting into the home of their heart and what their heart wants in their own lives. And so we might see a reflection of this in individuals in the collective. We may literally see people updating their homes, repairing their homes, remodeling their homes, adding additions to their home, moving to a new location, selling their home, buying a new home, finding a new home, things of that nature. And really all this is a reflection of how individuals are finding their home from within. Now, not everyone is going to be going through an experience around their home, but that's just an example of how this may be reflected in humans or individuals kind of in society who are kind of rooting into their own hearts. So what I noticed the most about the individuals rooting into their own hearts is that their sense of home is coming from within. Now, for those of you or individuals in the collective that are starting to root into your own heart or your own being as your sense of home, you are a part of this individualization process that I notice happening on the planet. Now, if you look at the general pattern of humanity or the human animal in general, we can notice that humans tend to be like a very community-oriented animal. We lean on community, we cooperate with community. It's kind of like a survival instinct to be involved in communities or group dynamics. So most humans stay rooted in their family unit and don't really move away from their families. Some humans that do eventually kind of move on from their families usually root into some kind of community or group dynamic. So it's very natural for the human being species to be very community oriented. But as people are rooting more into their own hearts, they're starting to individualize. They're starting to see who they are as an individual, which means they're becoming aware of how they're different and how they have unique needs, unique desires, a unique personality, a unique way of expressing their truth, operating from their truth, navigating their lives, being authentic. Now, this is kind of like a transition that's happening in humanity. Humanity is going from a very communal-based way of living, rooted in community or group dynamics, and moving towards individualization, where humans become more independent and individualized. And January is kind of like a turning point where really we start to see this becoming more and more obvious in our culture. Okay, this all started a while ago, this individualization process, and it kind of, all this division on the planet where we started seeing like really black and white division between beliefs and thoughts and political perspectives, you name it. There's been a lot of division on the planet. This is kind of the beginning of this individualization that's happening on the planet. And it kind of this big division that started happening on the planet, especially between old and new energy on the planet, was kind of the beginning of this individualization and also acting as a stepping stone for this individualization. In a way, people were still gathering together, just kind of like in their own separate groups. But now there's a strong call for a lot of individuals in the collective to break away from group dynamics and to really come into themselves as an individual. And so what this might look like is, instead of the human species being like a flock of sheep, kind of moving together and being attached together and having the same beliefs and the same perspectives and the same way of navigating lives and the same way of handling things, we are going to start to see more individualization. So it's kind of like a monk seal. A monk seal lives in the ocean, and the reason why they're called a monk seal is that once they're born and get through that phase of kind of depending on their mother, they go off on their own and they really don't interact with other seals until maybe they mate or things like that. So it's very common to see just one monk seal on a beach because they really don't spend time with other seals. Or, sometimes there's these animals out in the wild, where they're very independent, like a tiger. A tiger can be very independent. It has its own terrain, and it's kind of owns that terrain, and it's a very independent kind of individual creature. It doesn't usually travel with a flock, So this is kind of where humanity is going. Now, starting in January, there's kind of a turning point towards more individualization on the planet. And what we might see is new innovations, new technology, AI, things in the medical field, things in science that help promote individualization. It used to be in the past that the products that we would have, or the services that we would have, or even the systems that we would have on Earth were really a one-size-fit-all kind of system. The medical system, the government system, all the systems, they were just kind of treating everyone like, you need to fit in the same box in some way. And so what's changing is that in, for example, the medical field, at some point with all this upgraded technology and AI, at some point you're going to be able to walk into like a doctor's office or something and get scanned by a robot, and instead of being given like a one-size-fits-all kind of diagnosis or routine or regimen or nutrition or medicine, what's going to happen is that robot is going to be able to read your body and your unique needs and come up with a custom diet, a custom supplement, a custom routine, a custom everything for your specific body's needs. Okay. And so we're going to see more of things like this happening, where it's going to be, whether it comes to clothes, whether it comes to possessions, whether it comes to science or medicine or government, there's going to be a lot more of an embrace of the individual and customization for the individual. Right now, when you look at humans on the earth, it's kind of similar to like a field of freshly laid snow, a field of snow. Like on the surface, all the snow looks the same. It's like this white blanket on top of a field. But if you take each individual snowflake and you put it under a microscope, you'll notice that each snowflake is unique and different. And the same thing's happening with humanity. We may still be living in similar ways, But we are starting to embrace and accept how different we really are from each other. I don't know if you've ever seen movies like Star Wars, where they travel to other planets or different locations, and the community is not just like one species. It's a lot of different species mixed together. You have like, a short species, a tall species. I can't even talk right now. A species with like 3 eyes and some with like big ears that stick out, So we will, this individualization that's happening on the planet, I'm trying to like be able to put this into words for everyone. This individualization that's happening on the planet will continue to the point where we see almost like different species of humans on the planet. Because at some point, technology will come out with adaptations that we can do to our bodies. Like adding chips to our brains, having artificial eyes, having eyes that allow us to see UV rays or X-ray vision. Be able to like basically customize our bodies in different ways using android parts or bio parts, and so things are headed towards looking like a science fiction movie for sure on the planet. And it is a part of this individualization. So, maybe 20, 30, 50 years, I don't know the timeline, we are going to see this individualization continue. And we may be walking into the bar, on planet Earth and seeing a lot of different body shapes, a lot of different kinds of people, a lot of different ways people have upgraded their bodies in different way, and that's just going to continue and get more obvious as we go. But it's really, starting to become more prominent now in our society. Now, not all of this is happening in January, of course, but I wanted to talk about this theme of individualization and people rooting into their own hearts, because it is the energetic dynamic that leads to more individualization on the planet. Behind everything, there is an energetic dynamic. And when we see more individualization on the planet and more customization in the planet, both in our products, services, and systems, it's because people are rooting more into their hearts and who they are as an individual, and tapping into their own authenticity and uniqueness and embracing that and accepting that as their home. So let's move on to the next theme. The next theme that I was picking up in January is this theme of birthing. It's like a very creative energy that's starting to rise in the collective. And this is specifically relating to the people that have been rooting into their own hearts and going through that individualization process. A lot of these people have been ungrouping, detaching from ancestral ties, family ties, group dynamics, communities, and not that they've been breaking apart these relationships necessarily, but they've just been energetically detaching from them and really rooting more into themselves as an individual. And so what's happening for these people in the collective is that there's a creative rise in energy starting to happen starting in January, and it's just going to keep rising. And this creative energy that is rising is going to be this energy that can be used for basically anything in individual people's lives. So some people, depending on what's in their hearts and what their heart desires, may use it for personal transformation or just transformation in their life. They may use it to change their entire life or just certain parts of their life. This you might see in the collective, just more innovations, more inventions, more discoveries, just more coming up to the surface to be seen and created, simply because there's just this rise in creative energy starting to happen in January. The reason why I refer to this theme as like a birthing experience is because January reminds me of this big push of creative energy. It's like pushing through suppressive energies to birth this creative energy into the world for individuals. And so that's why I consider it more of a birthing energy, because it's not just this kind of sparkly little thing that just happens. It does require kind of a breakthrough or a push energetically in the collective to allow this creative energy to rise. And so at the same time, I want to say that there's kind of this death of hard work starting to happen in January. The death of hard work. We've already started to see this in the collective throughout the pandemic. Everyone quitting their jobs, some people coming back to their jobs, a lot of people resigning and leaving their jobs. It's an overall theme happening around the world, and this is a part of the death of hard work. Especially in older generations like the boomers. They're a generation that really came in onto the planet that did some really hard work. I mean, they worked hard to make their lives work, to make change happen, to improve things, you name it. And so that generation is very rooted into the wisdom of hard work. However, the planet is changing, and we've had younger generations coming in, which many older generations complain about younger generations being lazy and procrastinating and not knowing the wisdom of hard work and yada, 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 yada. But if we look at this on an energetic level and the transformation that's happening on the planet, we can definitely see that these younger generations don't need to work hard because our planet is changing. You know, in a way, we're breaking through this game that we have to work hard for our abundance, that we have to work hard for our energy, that we have to work hard for anything that we want. Really, if we look at these younger generations, they have more havingness. They have the ability to receive more for a lot less work and a lot less effort. And so what we're going to start noticing in January is kind of this push of like pushing through that energy of having to work hard and put in a lot of effort to make change happen in the world or in our lives. And we're going to start to see more of a creative energy be birthed, where it doesn't take a lot of effort or hard work. It's more of our creative energy that works for us. Okay, so this is kind of a beautiful birthing energy happening in January, and I continue to see that birthing energy rise, or that creative energy rise, until about the springtime or the end of spring. It's a pretty big theme happening in 2023, but I do notice it kind of kicking off in January. Now, there might be some external or internal pressure in your life that starts to build around this topic of creating what you want and having to move through those suppressive energies of having to work really hard and put a lot of effort into getting what you want. And so this kind of release looks very natural and gradual, kind of like reminded me of like a cyst that builds slowly to the point where it has so much pressure that it pops on its own. And that's kind of the energy dynamic that I was seeing in January around releasing this energy of suppression around creating and manifesting things with more ease. Now, a lot of this ease around the creative process is coming in on a knowingness level for a lot of individuals in the collective. And so it might be that starting in January, you just start to, or individuals just start to know what they need to do. It's a big month of experiencing the alignment after going through a lot of misalignment, energetic, stormy, experiences. And so a lot of people in January are going to start to feel what it's like to have alignment in their lives, to have things start to come together for them, to have opportunities to show up. On a knowingness level, a lot of people are going to be tapping into what's next for them. And so they might just know that they need to take a new course and learn something new. They just might know they need to meet a certain person. They just might know they need to change their job. They just might know they need to try something different or something new in some different way. But this is a part of the alignment energy that's happening in January. Now, because people are going to be tapping into their knowingness quite a bit around this alignment in their lives, there's also going to be possibly a lot of cleansing or energetic releases happening around the knowingness. As much as I would like to tell everyone that, when things start aligning, or when things start changing and we start to see some positive things energetically happening in the collective, like the creative energy rising, I would love to say that there's not going to be any challenges with that. But the collective is still holding a lot of wounding. The collective is also still not very integrated. And so as we rise in these experiences of more creative energy, or allowing our knowingness to align us with what's next, we will still be confronting our shadows. And that's kind of the wisdom that's coming up for me in January about all of this, is that although this beautiful rise in creative energy is happening, and there's this kind of alignment energy happening, and this individualization that's happening, and this feeling of rooting into our hearts, what I notice the most is that we still might face our shadows. And I especially see some feminine kind of shadow-like aspects kind of rising to the surface for the collective in January 2023. And it's mostly what is picking up on that is just really discern any new opportunities that are given to you. Don't just assume that because it's January and things are aligning, that every single opportunity that comes your way is going to be aligned with you. It's still important for you to be to use your intuition and to tune in to the opportunities and discern if that opportunity is just going to be a repeat experience of something toxic for you, or if you're actually stepping into a new alignment and a new direction that is going to work out better for you. All right, so that is the energy update for January 2023. Look out for some other videos this month. I'll be offering some card readings and some more energy updates for the year 2023. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It really helps you a lot. It really helps me a lot. Take care. Bye.